For over 600 years, the Ottoman Empire was the most powerful force on earth. Its armies stretched from the Danube River to the banks of the Nile. Kings trembled at the sound of its name. Sultans commanded millions with a single word. No empire in history had ever controlled so much land, so many peoples, so many resources. The Ottoman war machine was unstoppable. Its navy dominated the Mediterranean. Its janissaries, the elite soldiers of the Sultan, were feared across 3 continents. But hidden deep inside this empire was a secret so destructive, so dark, that historians believe it began killing the empire from the inside, long before any enemy could bring it down from the outside. This secret was not written in history books, it was not taught in schools. It was buried, deliberately, carefully, and completely. This is the secret that destroyed the Ottoman Empire, and it was hidden for over 100 years. It started with a room, not a battlefield, not a war council, just a room. Deep inside Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, there existed a place known as the cafes, the cage. It was not a dungeon, it was not a prison in the traditional sense, it was something far more insidious. Ottoman princes were locked inside these apartments for years, sometimes decades, monitored at all times by silent guards. They were given food, comfort, even luxury, but they were given nothing else. Think about what that truly means. The future rulers of the most powerful empire in the world, locked in a room, cut off from education, cut off from military training, cut off from leadership, cut off from reality itself. These were not criminals, these were heirs. The men destined to command millions, forbidden from learning how to command even a single soldier. Many princes went mad from boredom. The silence, the isolation, the endless waiting, it broke them. Some spent years talking to walls. Others turned to alcohol to escape the unbearable monotony of their golden prison. And when a new sultan was finally brought to the gate of felicity to receive power, trembling, blinking in the sunlight, it might be the first time he had stepped outside in 40 years. That broken, isolated, terrified man was now responsible for millions of lives. This was not an accident. This was a system, a deliberate system, designed not to protect the empire, but to protect those who already held power within it. And it was rotting the empire from the inside, one sultan at a time. After the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent, the empire's greatest ruler, something fundamental changed. Suleiman himself began withdrawing from public affairs, retreating into the private pleasures of his palace. The empire began to drift without a firm hand. Those who came after him saw opportunity in weakness. Powerful viziers and court factions found it far more convenient to keep princes uneducated and inexperienced. A weak sultan was easier to control. A strong sultan was dangerous. The old tradition, where young Ottoman princes were sent to govern provinces, lead armies, and learn the brutal realities of power, was completely and permanently abandoned. The result was catastrophic. Sultan after sultan who had never led an army, never managed a province, never negotiated a single treaty. Men who had spent their entire lives inside a golden cage, suddenly expected to rule the world's greatest empire. Corruption spread like poison at every level of the government. Nepotism replaced merit. Powerful factions inside the palace began controlling the sultans, pulling the strings from the shadows. The empire was no longer ruled by its sultan. It was ruled by shadows, and the shadows had no interest in the empire's survival, only in their own. But the internal rot alone did not finish the empire. There was one final, catastrophic mistake, one secret decision that sealed its fate forever. Before World War I, the Ottoman Empire signed a secret treaty with Germany. It was signed in desperation. It was signed in darkness, and as historians now agree, it was one of the worst decisions in 6 centuries of Ottoman history. The Ottomans believed Germany would win the war. They believed that aligning with the most powerful military force in Europe would finally reverse their decline. They believed this alliance would restore Ottoman greatness. They were catastrophically wrong. When Germany lost World War I, the post-war treaties did not just punish the Ottomans, they dismantled the empire entirely. Foreign powers carved up Ottoman lands like pieces of a map on a conference table. In 1922, the Sultanate was officially abolished. The empire that had lasted 600 years was gone, erased by a desperate secret treaty signed by men who had spent their lives in a cage and learned nothing from it. After the war, Allied forces marched into Constantinople. Civil infrastructure collapsed. Law and order broke down completely. The streets of the once magnificent capital fell into chaos. It was at this point that one man emerged from the ruins. Mustafa Kemal, later known as Ataturk, looked at what remained of the Ottoman Empire and made a decision. The empire was dead. It was time to build something new. From the ruins of 6 centuries, he built the Republic of Turkey in 1923. A new nation, a new identity, a new beginning. 600 years of empire, gone. Not because of one battle, not because of one enemy, not because of one war, but because of secrets kept inside palace walls, because of a system that deliberately produced weak rulers, corrupt governments, and isolated men who were never prepared to lead, because of one catastrophic alliance born from desperation and ignorance. The Ottoman Empire didn't fall. It was hollowed out, slowly, quietly, invisibly, from the inside. And that raises a question that should deeply concern all of us today. How many great powers in our world are making the same mistakes right now, keeping their future leaders isolated from reality, signing secret deals behind closed doors and hiding uncomfortable truths from their people? History does not repeat itself, but it rhymes loudly. If this story made you think, if it changed how you see power, secrecy, and the hidden forces that shape civilizations, then subscribe to Forgotten Thrones. Every single week, we uncover the stories that history tried to bury, because the past is never really gone. It's just forgotten.